What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be showing you guys my texture pack that I use in game. I use Natural Vision Evolved, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to install it and get it into FiveM. We're first going to start off on how you can actually get Natural Vision Evolved. Now, this resource is not a free resource; you have to pay for it. And the way you can actually purchase this is it's a one-time purchase. So you can go to the Raise Patreon. I'll link it in the description down below. But to obtain NVE, you have to pay for the $10 Patreon tier. Now, if you pay for the $5 or $1, you won't gain NVE, so you'll pay for the $10 one. Now, once you paid for it, when you scroll down here, there'll be a download link, so you can see yesterday they uploaded the December 31st update, and that's actually where you can download it from. So once you've got it downloaded from here, simply, I have it on my desktop right here. You're simply just going to open this up, and you're going to see like a little RAR. I would suggest downloading WinRAR before you do anything. I personally find it easier, but you can still use the Windows thing. Double click on this. Now, this should take a few seconds just to extract. Overall, if you have a slow PC, I would not suggest getting NVE. If you have a 20 series or 30 series card, NVE is probably good enough for you, but if you have like a 1060, NVE is not going to run well. So next up that we're going to see here is ENB, main package, and optional add-ons. So ENB is simply the default GTA texture stuff, and NVE basically goes off of that. So main package is obviously the main package that you're going to need in order to run the resource. If you don't have the main package, it's not going to run well. So optional add-ons are basically stuff that you can add on to make your game even look better. So we're first going to start off by opening our File Explorer. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and open up this PC. Now, once I've opened up this PC, I'm going to go ahead and find out where did I install GTA. If you'd installed it on Steam, it'll be in a Steam folder. So I installed mine on my Steam on my second NVMe drive. I have it located in my Steam library. So yours might be named this as well. It could just be named Steam. You got to open it up and figure out what's actually in there. So I opened up my Steam library, go to Steam Apps, go to Common, and then right here you'll see Grand Theft Auto 5. Open that up, and then you're going to sit right here. That's all you need to do. So you're going to go ahead and find over this NVE package right here. Double click on ENB. So we have three different settings right here: low, medium, and ultra. I have a 3070 Ti. I got rid of my 3090, but when I had my 3090, I used the ultra settings. Now I have a 3070 Ti, so I find medium settings to be the best. If you have a graphics card that's a 3060, a 3050, anything like that, I would suggest you use the low settings. So this is for your lower NPCs. If you like to get the best visuals, but you don't care about the FPS too much, I'd recommend going for medium. But nobody really uses ultra. So double click on medium settings preset, and right here you're just gonna hold your mouse, select all of this, and just drag it over into here. Now, I've already done it before, but it's simply just going to ask you to replace a few files if you have anything previously there. If not, it'll just go ahead and go into that file, and that's all you need to do. So once you've done that, simply X out of these two, and you're done for that. I'm going to reopen this. I don't know why I closed out of it, but now you've got the ENB. So ENB actually can be customized later on through FiveM. You can really change however you want on the texture pack. So for me, I don't touch ENB. I don't think that it really is worth it because you do get less FPS, but overall, it's not too bad. You can customize it however you want. Next up, we have the main package. So going in the main package, we see a mods folder, and in the mods folder, we'll see all these random files. So next up, what we're gonna do is right click on FiveM. I have mine on my desktop, so all you gotta do is right click on it, click on Open File Location. Once you've done that, it should open File Explorer. Now you got to double click on this little snail right here where it says FiveM application data. Right here, you're going to see a mods folder. Double click on that. And in here, you're just going to simply drag and drop all of these into here. This could take a bit just because it's a heavy file, but just drag and drop it into there, and then you'll be good. So I already have it in here, as you can see, and I have a few other add-ons, which I'll explain in a second, but these are the basic ones that you're going to need. Now, if you want to delete some of these, like the white streetlights, you don't think that it looks good, or you don't like the, animated lights, you can delete them. But overall, most of this you're going to need, so keep it in there. Next up, what I'm going to do is go over to my optional add-ons. So double clicking on that, I'm going to see 14 different things that I can add. Now, the first one is enhanced motion blur. I don't like motion blur. If you want to add it, you can, but I personally don't like it. So next up is brighter emergency lights. I would highly recommend this. This looks really good in FiveM. Double click on that. You'll have 4 different intensities. Now, I use the low intensity, and I personally still think it's bright. So You can go ahead and use low, medium, or high. You basically can just test with this. So I use low, open that up, just drag and drop. That's all this is just dragging and dropping these RPFs. Now, if you wanted to get medium and you think that low is not good enough, just come over to medium and then drag and drop, and it should replace over the previous one. Next up is Roads Overhaul Pack. Now, I personally do not use the Roads Overhaul Pack simply because it decreases my FPS a lot, and I do think that, you know, I don't personally like it. If you really want to get the Roads Overhaul Pack, go ahead. You'll lose some FPS, but that's the cons that you're going to see from it. So simply just drag and drop in there, and that's going to be good. So next up is the Weapons Overhaul Pack. In my server, Paradise State Roleplay, we already have custom weapons, so this doesn't really do much for me, so I don't add it. But if you're playing in a server where they don't have custom weapons and they're just using the GTA ones, you can just drag and drop this, and it'll give you some realistic versions of the weapons in game. Now, this is to hide the weapon reticle and damage. My server, Paradise State Roleplay, does not have weapon reticles, so this is not needed. I just skip over it. Darker nights simply just makes the nights darker, so it makes it harder to see during the night, but it makes it more realistic. So you can drag and drop that in there. More car engine smoke. I don't use it because I think it's too much. I think the regular engine smoke is already good enough, but if you want to get more, just drag and drop it in there. Now, next up is the Vanilla Unicorn Interior Overhaul. This is the strip club in Los Santos, so if you wanted to, you know, make that look better, you can by just dragging and dropping in there. I have that in there in my optional add-ons. Next up is the Mission Road Police Department Overhaul. I don't use this because my server has a custom map for the Mission Road Police Department, but you can use this if you'd like if a server does not have one yet. Next up, we have the Northern Lights in Blaine County. So I personally use this because I think it makes the sky look really good during the nighttime in Blaine County. And overall, I'd rate this a 10 out of 10. So if you want to add this, drag and drop it. It's not heavy on your game at all, so you're not going to be losing any FPS. Now, we have two other things here. We have the Halloween content pack and the Christmas content pack. When Halloween was around and when Christmas was around, I used both of these, so these looked great. It's not a huge overhaul. I mean, there's a few props that get added here and there within like Los Santos and Blaine County, but it's nothing big that you're going to see. So the last two is basically server resources. So this is if you have a FiveM server, you can add these to your server, but overall not needed. Now, that's how you install NVE in FiveM. That's all the files you need to add to your mods folder. And overall, there's nothing else you need to add. So every month, NVE releases a new updated version. So if you stay subscribed to their Patreon for the $10 a month, you'll get a new version every single month. So at the end of the month, for example, at the end of December, they released a new version, and it came with some updated stuff, fixed a little bit of lag, and basically added a bunch of new stuff that made the game look a lot better. So that's what you can do to get new stuff every single month. And if you want to learn more about NVE and FiveM, you can double click here and look at the README. But let's move on to the in-game. Alright guys, we're now in game. I'm going to show you guys what NVE looks like and how you can actually make it look even better with your in-game settings. So I have a 3070 Ti, and these are the settings that I currently have. So if you press escape, go to your settings and go to the graphics section. This is what you'll get the best performance and best graphics for what graphics card you may have, which is maybe a 3070, a 3060, something around that range. This is what the graphics are going to look best at. So I have FXAA at on. And Msaa I leave at off. I don't touch that. VSync, I'd highly recommend you turn this off regardless of what your PC specs are, because VSync makes it look even worse. So turn that off. I have pause and game focus loss on. It doesn't really do anything in FiveM. Population density and population verity. These only matter if the server you're playing on has AI. So those, like, you know, AIs that drive around, that's basically what this is based on. So as it goes higher, the more AIs will spawn around you. Distance scaling is kind of like your render distance that you'll see in like Minecraft and other games. I have this about a 35-40%, just simply because it works the best at that percentage and it doesn't take up too much of your FPS. Extended texture budget, I would recommend that you put this about 30-40%. If you're still getting texture loss, put this at about 50%, and then I probably wouldn't go past 50%. Next up is texture quality. So obviously this is just textures and how they look. The higher this is, the more detailed the roads will be, all the props, your clothing. I have this at very high and I get pretty steady frame rates. Shader quality, I put this at very high. This makes my NVE really look great. So now shadow quality, I put this at high. I don't think it looks very good at very high, so I just put it at high. Now reflection quality, I put this at high. I didn't find any difference between high and very high, so I just kept this at high. Reflection Msaa, I put this at 2x. Most graphics cards will run this at the best at 2x, so that's what I left mine at. Water quality, I put this at very high because I make a lot of TikToks that do a lot of like boats and you know all that type of stuff with the water, so I put this at very high simply just because that's where I'm filming most of my stuff. Particles quality, I'd recommend putting this at high. You can put it at normal if your game's starting to lag, but this isn't a main factor of what your game would lag at. It would probably just be texture quality or shader quality. Grass quality, I put this at normal. I don't think the grass looks that different when you put it on high or very high, so I just left it at normal. Soft shadows, softest is highly recommended. If your PC can't handle it, go softer or soft. Post FX, so for NVE to run at its very, very best, you have to put this at very high, regardless of what your PC specs are, because if it's not at very high, almost all the stuff in NVE just doesn't show, and it just will not it basically just be regular GTA without a visual pack. So put this at very high and NVE will perform at its best. Motion blur strength, I turn this off. I don't think it looks great. If you want to turn motion blur on, I'd recommend turning this up and getting the NVE resource as well. So the filtering I put at X16, that's what is recommended by NVE and it looks the best, so I have it at that. Ambient I have it off, and tessellation I have it off. Overall, those are the settings that I have for my 3070 Ti. Video memory, as you can see on the top, is not being taken up a lot. So if you were having texture loss and your video memory is like nowhere near its max, turn this up and this will go up. But overall, that's all I have for my settings right there. Advanced graphics, the only thing I have on right here is high detail streaming while flying, because you know when you're staff and you're flying around with no clip, it looks a lot better whenever everything is like high detail whenever you're flying. So I have that there, and that is pretty much it for the graphic stuff. So as you can see, my NVE right now at the boat docks is running at about 85 to 100 FPS. As I get to the, you know, Los Santos or Legion Square, like the more congested areas, my FPS will decrease simply because there's a lot more you got to load in. And overall, my game looks pretty good. I mean, comparing this to GTA, this is, you know, a big step ahead. And if you're willing to spend 10 bucks just to make your game look a lot better and just a little bit less FPS, I think NVE is a great option. So that's going to be it for this video today. If you guys have any questions over some stuff I didn't cover in this video, go ahead and comment them down below. Or if you're wondering on, you know, other videos I should probably upload, go ahead and comment them down below too, because I'm going to start uploading more in 2022 on this YouTube channel. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.